Good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning for a morning mindfulness practice. Perhaps this morning we just drop straight in, finding a posture that's comfortable, stable, wakeful, restful. Closing the eyes or leaving them open. And just being where you are. Bringing awareness to this moment right here. The body sitting or standing or lying. The breath, fast or slow, deep or shallow, wherever you feel it. Just this. We often speak of bringing attention to the present moment with mindfulness as a kind of observation, a kind of looking. But we might also think of it as listening, just listening to what's here. In all the senses of listening. More and less literal, figurative, metaphorical. Just listening to this moment, this body, this breath. And perhaps bringing a particular attention to sounds now. Resting the attention on the soundscape. Sounds inside you and around you. Nearby and far away. Loud and quiet. And silent too. The rawness of each sound. There may be images and words and stories associated with it. There may be other thoughts, emotions, sensations present too. Allowing it all to be here in the background. Just turning the attention, the ears of attention, the spotlight of attention, to the rawness of sound and to the silences in between them. We're not looking for any particular sounds or any particular experience as we listen. But just resting the mind with the soundscape. The field of sound. And allowing everything else that is present to be here too, in the background. You may like to come back periodically to the breath and the body, to check in here, to rest the mind with a few breaths. And then to open once again to the sounds in your experience. Just to listen. And of course the mind will wander into thinking or something else. Noticing this is awareness. And perhaps with a brief acknowledgement of where the mind wandered to, thinking, worrying, planning, daydreaming, remembering, just a brief noting, we can come back to the breath, to the body, and to the sounds in all directions, left and right, in front and behind, above and below, outside and inside. Just listening to this moment as it is. Seeing how it is to let that be enough for now. Just this. We're not choosing what sounds arise or when they fade away. There may be thoughts present about which we like and which we don't. But either way, the sounds simply appear and fade away. And we can just listen to this. We're not responsible for it. Although we do have a choice about how we respond. With attention, or with something more automatic and reactive. We don't choose what arises around us or inside us, but we can choose how we respond. Mindlessly or mindfully. So how is it to respond to this moment with your awareness? Without having to rush into any action, for now at least. And just to really see it, to really hear it, however it is. To let it gradually clarify, settle, reveal itself. Given the space and time to do so by your gentle awareness. However many times the mind wanders into a more automatic response, something more abstract, you can just come back to the breath, the body, and to sounds. Knowing that each time we do, we strengthen the muscle of awareness. Power ourselves to respond more attentively and creatively in future moments too. And perhaps seeing how it is now to turn this attentive ear to thoughts, to listen to thoughts as sounds in the mind, popping up and fading away. We don't have to dive into the content of each thought. We can just apprehend it, see it arising, lingering, and in its own time fading away. Is it possible to observe a thought without having to react to it, without having to answer it, just to see it as a sound in the mind or an image in the mind? Knowing that we can always come back to the sensation of breath and body, points of contact, feet and hands, to steady ourselves. And then if it's okay, to open again to the thoughtscape. One metaphor that can be helpful is to see thoughts in the mind as being like traffic, vehicles on the road. Sometimes the traffic flows freely, sometimes it is congested. Some thought vehicles entice us on board. And before we know it, we've travelled on a journey, short or long. When we notice this, we always have the opportunity to get out of that thought vehicle and to step back to the side of the road, from where we can simply watch the traffic go by. Resting with the breath and the body and the sounds, and just allowing the thoughts to come and go. Not something we're responsible for. They just arise. And in their own time fade away. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. But all thoughts fade away eventually. We don't need to run out into the middle of the road to try to stem the flow of traffic or to race after a particular thought vehicle. You can simply rest by the side of the road, grounded in breath and body, and watch the traffic go by. However many times we are taken on journeys by our thoughts, we can always step back one more time. Begin again in this brand new moment. As we come towards the end of this practice, perhaps exploring what it's like to bring this attentiveness, this listening ear, non-judgmental eye to the whole of your experience. Not just sound, not just thought, the sensations of the body too, any emotions, any impulses to act, anything at all. Just seeing it all appear, stay for however long it does, and then fade away. And just choosing to respond with awareness, without reactivity. With just being. Knowing that from this place of being and awareness, any action can follow. If we allow any action, any response to come from this place, we give it the opportunity to be more skillful, more measured, to see more clearly how to respond. Even if a drastic action is needed. That may well be the case sometimes. Allowing that to come from a place of being too. A place of seeing and hearing clearly how things really are. And then choosing how to respond. Today's poem is called Wonder by Derek Tasker. I wonder what would happen if I treated everyone as if I was in love with them, whether I like them or not, and whether they respond or not. And no matter what they say or do to me, and even if I see things in them that are ugly, twisted, petty, cruel, vain, deceitful, indifferent, just accept all that and turn my attention to some small, weak, tender, hidden part. And keep my eyes on that until it shines like a beam of light, like a bonfire I can warm my hands by, and trust it to burn away all the waste which is not, never was, my business to meddle with. So thank you for practicing with me this morning. Wishing you a good day. I'll be back at the same time tomorrow. Take care.